One time I was sweating excessively kwa miguu, and then we were playing football. So combine the dust and all that, my feet were almost muddy. And then he made a very mean comment referring to my feet being very muddy, and my other friends walicheka sana. It hurt deeply because as a child already nilikuwa na struggle kuelewa what this is. Other children are making fun of me, so it hurt and I didn't know what to do. Most people, they wouldn't make mean comments, but you will probably see from their eyes or their interactions that there is something they've noted, but they don't know how to bring it up. The first time I encountered hyperhidrosis, probably I was in my lower primary. Initially, I mistook it to be just a normal sweating. My name is Tony Odindo. I'm 26 years old, turning 27 in like a few weeks. Currently, I'm an auditor at one of the big fours in Kenya. That's my day-to-day routine, just doing audit work. I have primary hyperhidrosis. I had it since I was young. At first, I mistook it to be just normal, but then later on, I started noticing some trends, especially when I was in class, I think at class 2 or 3. I noticed I was sweating abnormally during the day in class. At first, it didn't hit me because, of course, I'm still young. I'm still a child, but I could see a change in myself. When I was advancing, I think now as I was approaching upper primary school, that's when my mom noticed that I had challenges doing my homework. She would notice sometimes my hands were sweating excessively. So she asked me what was the challenge. Then I told her I've noticed that sometimes I sweat while in class. And then at first she said it could be I'm eating too much salt. So, and this made her to reduce our intake of salt in the house, at least for my sake. But now, after a few months, there wasn't any change. So one day, my dad took me to hospital. I think it's Guru Nanak in Kisumu. The doctor, I did some consultation with the doctor, and they concluded that it could be just a case of too much salt or water. They recommended that at least for some few months I watch my salt intake and also how much water I was consuming. I think ukiwa lower primary, you don't do a lot of reading, you're not engaged sana in class. So probably even if I was sweating, the challenges hazikuwa zina affect my studies at that point. But now as you get into now serious higher primary, class 6, 7, 8, where there is a bit more of studying, staying in class and all that. So we used to do exams frequently, sana, and we used to write a lot. So that's when now the challenge of hyperhidrosis really kick in. And being that Kisumu is generally hot. It was a challenge, especially writing composition, insha, taking notes. It was a challenge. It had an effect on my KCSE because now uko kwa ile stage ya KCP, uko kwa ile stage ya you want to do really well. You've been performing well. Mostly saa zingine kwa position 1, 2, 3, at least the top positions. In one of my papers, it was Kiswahili. It was overwhelming, and I think that's the one paper I didn't do really well. And in the end, I didn't do as expected. Nilipata just a few marks of 400. And it was a bit disappointing to the school and even my parents. But now I couldn't really explain that. It was that anxiety that kicked in because of hyperhidrosis that made me now not do really well. For high school, the activities are different. Learning iko more advanced. Activities meongezeka, co-curricular, interactions with your fellows from all over the country, and also the other gender, madam. At first, my friends, they used to like torment me. To them, it was just the normal jokes, while referring to these, because they weren't understanding why I was having this condition. I had a friend from home, though nikiingia Form 1, he was in Form 3. He was playing rugby, so he introduced me to sports. I give a lot of thanks to him for introducing me to the sport, because it did a lot in my self-esteem. It boosts my self-esteem because the practice, your adrenaline, and then people just seeing that you can actually play and playing very well. It boosts my self-esteem to a point that sweating ikaanza kuwa something that wasn't in my mind. I've just joined campus. It's my first time in Nairobi. I've noted that there's a change in weather. Kuna baridi. It's different from Kisumu. So back to my condition, you may notice there's a change. I'm not sweating as excessively as I was in Kisumu. Though napata mikono zangu saa zingine zinakuwa baridi sana. I might not be sweating, but my hands are very cold. At one point I visited the school clinic. Nikapata the doctor. I explained my situation to her, though she didn't really get it. She referred me to a dermatologist in Kenyatta. So before I went, nilifanya my research. That's when nikajua the condition, and then I realized it's actually a thing. I wasn't abnormal or anything. It's a condition that actually exists. So when I went to Kenyatta, I met the dermatologist. That's when nikaanza kuget now the full understanding of hyperhidrosis. My professional life, I think we deal a lot with the clients. And you have to work from the client's place most of the time. You have to interact with the clients. When that pressure kicks in, that anxiety also kicks in, and the trigger is there. You are anxious, you find yourself just sweating. So now trying to handle it has been quite a challenge, but I'm glad I've been able to navigate it. There's a day I was scrolling through Twitter, and there's a post by a lady, can't remember the name. So she was talking about hyperhidrosis, and then there were those comments. So when I was going through the comments, that's when I realized this condition is actually a big thing in the country, and not just the country, everywhere. Because there were a lot of comments, retweets, shares, likes by people who are experiencing hyperhidrosis. And I think there is a person who shared a link of a group for people with hyperhidrosis in Kenya. So I clicked the link and I joined. So we joined a number of people that day, and I think that day I slept at 2 because of the stories for that day. They were overwhelming. People were sharing their experiences, those scenarios where they've been embarrassed because of these conditions. And I realized that there are people who've had it even worse than me. I thought mine have been embarrassing, but there are people who've had it worse than me.
Would you recommend HAK to people out there?
I will recommend HAK to people because it's been only like 2 months of interaction with HAK, and I can already see the results based on the comments people have here on those posts. Yeah, people are opening up more. So I think it's a matter of many people don't have access to this information, and at the moment HAK is doing a good job trying to create awareness. I see the Instagram posts, the posts on Twitter, the posts on Facebook, and to me it's actually a good way of connecting to the masses. So HAK, for me, it's doing a good job, and I would recommend it to other people. Apart from hyperhidrosis, they talk of other aspects of life, especially things to do with hygiene, because hygiene and hyperhidrosis, I've figured out, they go hand in hand. The more you keep yourself clean, the more you manage the condition. So in as much as they're spreading awareness about hyperhidrosis, the other aspects of hygiene, which they are also communicating to people, is also good. Yeah, so I would really recommend it. The first thing with hyperhidrosis is accepting yourself. It's the first step, accepting that this is actually a condition that is there. The next thing will be now to get more information about hyperhidrosis. This means that you have to speak out. You have to speak out to your friends. You have to try to see doctors if you are able to. These health practitioners, they would best explain to you the situation, because even for hyperhidrosis, I think it's not the same for everyone. We don't sweat the same. For those people with hyperhidrosis out there, I wanted to tell them that this is actually a condition. It's not a disease. It's a condition that people are living with and people are managing, and their lives are going on well as the other people who they perceive to be normal compared to them, and they can do absolutely anything they want. Because for me, I even played sports. I used to play rugby, and you see, rugby, we use our hands more during the game, and I used to play so well. It means the moment I understood myself and accepted myself and figured out how to manage the condition, it helped me now to see myself as being completely normal, and I was able to continue with the other aspects of my life. HAK says, sweat without shame.